look and I'm like, I really haven't talked to so-and-so in a while, and I might just say hey to them. That starts a conversation. I'm like, that's
a movie scene.
That was
because you know what happens next. To be continued, the podcast.
Howdy.
Episode. It's not really a scheduled episode. This is a special edition.
Yes.
Special edition episode of To Be Continued. And the topic of this episode is
all in the same decade. So we just took this time to really create an episode when our friend Jamae, so hey Jamae. Hi. Jamae joined us, and we just started talking about how life has changed in the past 10 years or so. So I just had to stop the conversation and say, this got to be an episode because we can't be the only ones. We can't.
Absolutely. We was talking about so much. I was just like, come on, we cannot just be us.
Right.
But
so before we continue, though, we would like to give the opportunity for Jamae to introduce herself.
I'm nobody. I know these lovely gentlemen from the illustrious North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University.
Yes.
We met working together as orientation student leaders. I was trying to decide how I was going to say that.
yeah.
OSL days.
We have some interesting times.
Woo,
but we signed non-disclosure agreements, so we're just gonna leave that.
We're gonna leave it.
Imagine that, signing an NDA in 2013.
But beautiful personalities, and I'm just happy to be here.
So I guess, did any of us? I want to know. I can answer for myself, but did any of us expect to be in Greensboro in 2020?
Are we allowed to cuss?
Sure. We grown now.
Hell no.
Hell
no. I ain't expect to be still in damn Greensboro 10 years later.
Oh my God.
That's and you know what? And I think what has kept me here, what has grounded me here, is just monotony. Comfortability, being comfortable has planted me here. I have rooted here. I have recently become more involved in the community here, and I'm just like, oh my God, like, and then it's like those are the things that kind of keep you here, like,
right?
That those community ties, especially since I work with kids, like the youth, and it's just like so many of them already got people walking out of their life, but and then he go, there's just another one.
That's right.
But I definitely don't think you should take that for granted, because it's easy to feel like your impact is small until you step out of that space and then you realize how many people you influenced and impacted. Because I've watched your videos and how you interact with those young men, and they're so sweet. It touches how you can see how okay, maybe that's just what you post.
It's for the camera.
Okay.
It's for the camera.
Oh, no. Don't believe him.
Yeah, they're trimmers when they not on.
I bet that's just
no. I love them though. Yeah, they my guys. Like I got their back. I always got their back.
So I think I'm kind of like you. I think we got kind of such involved in like the community. Like Greensboro is the first home away from home that I had, and so when I ended up graduating and then I went to Henderson for 2 years, it was like I was constantly being drawn back to Greensboro. So I didn't expect myself to be here 10 years after I graduated high school, but I mean, I'm not saying that it's the worst place to be, and I think
that's a fact.
I still feel that home connection to A&T, so there's always something for me here.
Absolutely.
I think too many people leave and then don't give back. So I think it's important. And I don't know what it is, but there's no draw to go anywhere else for me right now. I just feel like something is coming. I don't know what it is and when it is, but
same.
Greensboro's about to I feel like North Carolina as a whole is going to do something. I don't know what it is, but it's going to be something.
Yeah. I'm trying to make sure we become a part of that something.
Yeah.
So I've been thinking, I emailed a lady about my classes at A&T, so hopefully they'll get back to me on that soon. And I'm just trying to take those so we can execute our plan and just be in it.
Yes.
Be in it.
I think that's one. You mentioned plan, and I think that is the funniest thing to me. And, even when you're going through like the stresses of life, you sometimes find something to laugh about. And I think it's funny because it's like no matter what it seems like I plan to do and how I plan to do it, and I think I have the steps, I write it down, I'm ready to go. It seems like there's always just something there to, kind of divert my path. And I don't always necessarily not achieve it, but I think adulthood is like the first real time that you get smacked in the face with what failure can do or what your one small decision can balloon into. Because usually, if I don't do so well in a class, I can retake it next semester, or it may add a semester or two to me, but I know that those are the semesters and this is what I need to do. But then adulthood is like, okay, I'm going to pay these bills.
Yeah.
It's like you walk out the door, like, I'm going to pay these pop. And you like, ooh, something broke down on your car. Or, ooh.
You graduate with a whole degree. They don't tell you ain't going to get a job in your degree.
Hey.
You're not going to get a job, period. I was still holding on to an internship.
Okay.
Making $80 every 2 weeks. Calling Jackie Powers talking about, you still need some help. Homeless, trying not to go back to New Jersey.
Okay.
Because you got to get out of Terrace.
You
This is
got it.
A&T housing. You got to get out. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to tell them.
Jamae, if I told you what the hell I went through this summer.
I'm telling you.
What the hell we all went through this summer. Like, oh my goodness.
It's
like,
too much.
Oh man.
They don't prep you for school and that. It's just, I just don't feel like school, and this is like a huge segue, and I promise this is not a shameless plug, but I think that education is really important, and it hasn't changed in 50 years, and it needs to change, and there needs to be some type of reform, because
Jamae,
you sit in school for at least a quarter
of your life.
A quarter of your life, 25 years, about 23, whatever.
Yeah, if you
especially on the 6-year plan.
Yeah.
But you sit up there and then you. Oh, I'm sorry, that was.
I know it wasn't shit. I know because you probably didn't know that.
No, God.
I was about to say,
it's real though. We made it.
Then you get out and then you're just like, so what now?
Right. And I mean, for me, I came out and I had to like start everything. Like I had to find an apartment. I had to find a job.
How do you do that?
I didn't get my license until I was like 24. So I was a whole adult going to work every day and still trying to learn how to drive myself. So it was like so much going on when I first graduated, and in my first 2 years that it was just,
it's a lot.
It's only been 6 years in, and it seems like those 2 years were such a mile away.
Oh my goodness.
I'm telling you.
It really puts things in perspective. 2015 is
Listen,
not that long ago.
All in the same decade.
Right.
Listen, what happened at the beginning of the decade? 2013, Beyoncé changed the game when she dropped the digital.
Oh my God.
Changed the game when the digital dropped. Know where you were when that digital popped.
See, now we have to watch it.
I stopped the world. Because, bitch, that's exactly what happened. That shit dropped, and niggas
was
just
on
like
campus,
the whole
everywhere
on campus. I'm telling you, it was all over Twitter, Facebook. Oh my God, Beyonce dropped a surprise album.
Nobody
changed the game.
The fact that it didn't get leaked and none of that
Right.
stuff, people were so confused.
Right, niggas ain't know what the fuck happened.
I'm telling you,
changed the game.
I'm telling you,
literally the world stopped.
Oh my God.
I was here for it because Partition is my song.
Oh my gosh. I wonder why.
I'm just saying.
What else happened this decade? Graduate college, graduate high school.
Trump.
Yes.
Trump, right? We went from
Obama to hell. Hell. To this day, I'm still confused. I feel like
day.
we are in the Twilight Zone. This is
the Matrix
real.
kicked it. This
is simulation. Oh,
this is a whole genjutsu. A whole genjutsu. We are caught in somebody's dream world. Because you can't tell me. Now,
we got to get it
like
right.
when you're driving.
Obama was a moderate. So, he wasn't this super duper radical person.
Right.
But at least people didn't get turned up and start doing all this foolishness like they are now. We knew that was covert racism. We knew that it's seeped into the very, bowels of our society. But at least I could walk down the street and feel a little bit safer than I do now.
Oh my gosh. That's a fact.
Because people getting real bold.
The audacity.
People are getting real bold in this latter part of the decade starting new. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you.
When Kobe passed away, this young man, he came up with his phone and he was showing everybody with a smile on his face.
Hold on, wait. Because
first off.
We were in Best Buy. I was so confused.
First off, we do want to say rest in peace, Kobe.
Mm-hmm.
And
Kobe, Gianna, and the Antonellis, the pilot, everybody.
Somebody lost their life.
Yeah.
Like, regardless of who asked, I'm sorry, I was not okay in that situation.
Yeah, like, I literally, like, with everything that's been going on, like, that was just, like, the tipping point. Like, Monday, I could not go to work. I did not go to work. I texted them and I said, look, I'm not coming in today. So I'm taking a mental day. I said, like, Kobe died and I had all this other stuff going on. Like, the shit was crazy. And so I literally sat there on the couch and I watched the little special they had did, like, the night before. And I literally just sat there and I just cried. Like, it wasn't like, I wasn't like sobbing, crying, like, boo-hoo. But it was just like, just letting the tears flow. Like,
and that's like the empathetic, I think, part of us that, kind of taps into the shattering feelings of losing someone. And it's like, I was thinking about it. I'm not like a big sports person now, but watching sports was a part of my childhood with like my dad and my uncles and my grandfather. And so my uncle's team was the Lakers. Like NBA games come out, he always played with the Lakers. And, Kobe was, my uncle's very talented at basketball as well. So, that was kind of just a connection. And when I saw that, it's like, that was a shattering piece of my childhood. Like, I never met the man in person, but I lived a part of my life through him and my uncle's connection by being a fan. So that was kind of heartbreaking when you think about how you lose images that trigger such nostalgic feelings, especially now because we old. Yes. We like connecting to our childhood because we old now.
I was really starting to think about after that one hit and seeing how it impacted our generation, how other ones would, and who I would really be hurt by.
Right.
I hate to say this out loud because I hope it never happens, and I'm gonna knock this wood as hard as I can after I say this, but the Obamas.
Oh Lord!
Gosh!
Take me first.
Okay,
first. I can't watch that. That was to be on campus during his second election, and how everybody ran to the reflection pool and jumped in and was screaming and hollering, and then watching old folks cry on television because they never thought it would happen. Nobody believed it would, and wow! I just. To this day, that's Uncle right there. Uncle and Auntie.
It's amazing where our lives were in both elections.
Yeah.
Like the first one, I was in high school, and then to be, already have progressed into college, and he's, getting...
seeing the real politics behind it.
Right.
Never changed that experience. I'm so glad I got to experience that in high school, because I feel like nobody would have acted a plum fool like that anywhere else.
You're right.
Nobody was about to run out in the middle of the streets and scream. Like, being on an HBCU campus at that moment was amazing. And then everybody, like marching to the ANT4.
ANT4. Get it right.
Also, shout out to the ANT4 because today is February 1st as we're recording. So
60 years. That was 60 years ago.
And that is so because we're close. Lord have mercy. We're close to 30.
My mom was alive when that happened.
So it's like the fact that was half of we're only half that amount of time. Like that's one generation.
Yeah.
One generation.
And we still ain't got it right yet.
No.
But
we're making America great again.
Millennials has to start it. We have to start the wave. And y'all got to get these people is retired. The boomers is retiring. My dad retired yesterday.
Shout out to Daddy. Come on.
Yes. He finally retired from his government job.
Congratulations.
This is going to be inappropriate, but Sugar Baby 2020, so holla at me.
I mean,
well, I'm not going to knock anybody's hustle, okay?
There's coin to be made because there's bills to be paid. Amen.
There's coin to be made where there's coin to be made, okay?
Sorry for that laugh.
I'm here. Look, for all you millennials out there, I support you.
Do what you got to do, honey child.
Do what you got to do.
It's hard out here for a pimp.
I'm telling you.
When you're trying to make this money for a living, I got to take control.
Look. That was one thing I had to shout about. I was going through, I said, okay, I had enough in my account to pay my rent, my lights, and keep a little bit for gas. I'm going to make the rest work. But then I was like, ooh, what if they take my car that I just filled out? The plight of being grown.
And you know what? That's one thing I don't want to say fear, but there's something I fear. Like I just filled my car up and then something happened to it.
I'm telling you,
some dumbass totaled it by fucking hitting it, driving through the fucking parking lot.
Frightening.
No. He literally is speaking on my account.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Someone rammed it into my car and like totaled it in my parking lot. Of course, because people ain't honest. They didn't leave a note or anything, and I had to get a new car. But, unfortunately, living my life the past few years, I kind of chalked up a little bit of debt trying to survive. So my car payments were even higher. And I'm just like, someone else's negligence has impacted my life in such a great way, and they just get away with it. They
probably out living their best life.
The universe,
I'm telling you,
Lord, somebody
they'll get their karma one day.
But I'm telling you, Tisha Lay, that's my new car. She a girl, so T'Challa is not Tisha Lay. But she rocking with me.
Wait,
she rocking with me.
I've never heard anybody name a car or anything a male name.
She's Tisha Lay.
No, like I'm saying, the one previous boats, cars. I don't know.
That's a fact.
Just everybody.
Tisha Lay is it. my little Elantra.
One thing I did want to touch on before we move on is that I'm gonna circle back around to Kobe real quick. I know we had brightened up, but it was hard. It was also the first time you saw like black men show emotion.
Yes. That's the first time black people didn't like use humor to cope.
Right.
Literally, niggas were mourning. And when I was watching the special they did on ABC, they one of them said, I want to say it was Michael Strahan. It really don't matter who said it, but one of them said that it just didn't feel right because it just felt like somebody was taken from you. Right. He said it might have been different, like if he had like lived out his life and done everything like old age or something happened, right? But it's just like somebody was just taken from you. Like you saw just how happy he was after retirement, and he was just on the up and up and won an Oscar for his stuff, and you just hate to see a black man that's doing good go down like that.
It's always something.
Right, it's always something. I was watching Kane Carter the other day. Hot Damn I Rock. Like, sad story there too. Like,
yeah, what happened to him? Because after the snow crack leaks, it was
Listen, like he had a lot of personal stuff going on. His best friend committed suicide.
I remember him making a video about that.
Yeah, his best friend committed suicide. Then his dog died. And then in this latest video, one of his other friends had died. He was like 26 years old, had a seizure in his sleep, died. Like, and in the video he just posted, he said that for the longest time he felt like he just didn't want to be here anymore. Like he said, he just felt like he just needed to be gone, like to just end it all. And he said, but then after his most recent friend died, and he told the story of, I think his name was Zach. And he said Zach was the first person who ever made him like his smile. Mm-hmm. And so when Zach died, it just kind of hit him a different way. And because he went like super like deep into the story and told everything, but for the sake of time, because you know how I get, you know.
I was with you though. I was with you.
He said that it's really no need to commit suicide because something gonna happen. You call your best friend and then commit suicide. No, not 10 minutes later. You fall asleep and have a seizure in your sleep at 26 years old. Like he said, something's gonna happen. He said you just gotta stick it out. Honestly. You just gotta wait and see. But something's gonna happen. I said that's some crazy shit.
That's real though. And I think that also reminded us of like our fleeting mortality, I guess. Like we kind of, I'm 28, I'll be 29 this year. That's a 11-year difference, 12-year difference between me and Kobe Bryant. It's like, and the fact that 10 years have passed so quickly, 12 years is nothing. So to think about, even though there's a decade of a gap, it's still such an experience, you know, that goes by so quickly. You know, that was kind of tough for me as well, because I think about the fact that we're working so hard to kind of change the world, and it's like, do you have enough time?
No, definitely.
You know, it's like,
and just like you never know.
You never know.
You never know.
You could be going like someplace, and you know, a part of that is the reason why I've gotten more agoraphobic over the years. You know, just protect myself, but also it's the fact that it's like, you want to focus on one thing and change one thing because you know you don't have as long to change it all.
Honestly, I don't think I'm afraid of dying. I think I'm afraid of dying before I fulfill my purpose.
Yes, yes. Don't do me.
Oh, I thought I was just going to make it through with a but then it came back around and got me again.
I'm saying so, and I'm not trying to reach you, but you staying in the house is probably not going to fulfill your purpose. So if you leave without an impact, you will face your judgment as well.
Jamae,
this is why we love Jamae.
Jamae, let me tell you. You just said
my life.
You just said what I've been telling Brandon for months.
I know,
but in a more direct, like.
That's what I do.
Like
I hate it about myself.
Just life, just Chile.
Trust and believe. I understand, and this is something that has just happened recently with me. Another shameless plug, but I think it's something that's necessary. He's been going viral. A lot of people have already heard about him, but Pastor Michael Todd, Transformation Church, his series on everything has been really hitting hard. He just got through with a 20-week series called Crazy Faith, and then now he's on to the 2020 series, which is called Stronger. And there was one about weaknesses. And what did he say? The sabotage. Something about sabotage is feelings. So basically, with our gift that he gives us, you do 3 things, and these are all feelings. One is you overestimate. We overestimate what he's asking us to do. He's not asking us to complete a task and do something unimaginable. He's just calling us to see if we are willing to do that task. Mm-hmm. He's not saying that he would do it without us. 2 is we compare. So if somebody tells you, oh, you have a beautiful spirit, you need to teach, you can raise the next generation of leaders, and you're like, that's not me. There's so many other people out here that are way better than I am. Well, they weren't called to do the task that he has called you to do. Mm-hmm. So, or maybe they were called to do it at a different time than you were. So now that you're seeing them in their future self, but you didn't see the beginning of their generation. And then the last one, I believe, undermine. I hate to misquote him. You guys go watch that.
I got to, because I'm just kidding.
Undervalue. We undervalue our gifts because we just...
I thought we were going to church tonight.
It's fine.
It's in fine. Everything. Okay. I'm so sorry.
And man, that was it. Somebody gonna get blessed off that. Blessed like I've been blessed. Because
I promise you, I'm not like holy and devout. Like you said, like the first 30 seconds I asked if I can cuss. So I'm still transforming. But I just wanted to put that out there because I know that I was red. I really wanted to turn that mess off 7 minutes into the sermon. But I sat there and I took it. I took my beating.
Look, that's real though. That's real. I ain't even gonna look. I ain't even trying to comment after that. I just got. Woo!
Okay. Well, you know what? I think we kind of just need to mosey on up out.
Yeah,
I just need to change the subject on that.
That's why. Look, this is why this is called a special episode because we just wanted to talk. But no, it's nothing to be sorry about. It's just so funny how you asked you're like, hey, I'm in the area. Can I come over? And the fact that we all ended up converging in this place for you to then deliver a word like that. Right. I am shook.
This is our intervention. This is our divine intervention.
Honey, because I kept trying to put distractions in my life from everything that was going on, and he used them to speak through them to me. I can't avoid it. You can't run from it. It's impossible. So just let it go. Just give your life over to him. Or if you don't believe in God, higher power, whatever it is, believe in something because life is too hard.
Yeah.
It's too hard.
And I mean, like we talk about, I think I've become more spiritual, and my connection is not shown as much through action as it might have used to be. When I was younger, and I was in all the choirs and I ushered and everything like that. But I will say, I think that faith is like that, whatever your faith is like that buoy beacon. Mm-hmm. And it's like when you're getting tossed by the waves of life, it's like that gives you something to focus on and say, my shore is in this direction. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes you feel like, and I've even used the analysis before, just talking to him, not analysis, analogy, of like just drowning, because you kind of feel like you're in too deep. And it's just sometimes the conversations that you may not have with your friends, but you have a God where you just cry and you just say you don't know what to do. Sometimes it's just like he throws out the life raft and reels you in a little bit closer to where you can stand up in the water, and I don't know where that came from other than that word that you just gave me.
Another thing that will help you get through, another one of his points was our generation is stuck on results. But sometimes it's not about the results, it's about the resolve. So I'm going to say...
Happy first Sunday of Black History Month. Happy first Sunday. Amen.
But I have something lighter for you guys because I was curious when we started this conversation.
Yes.
Way lighter. The most humbling thing is Facebook memories. So
oh my God.
I was going to ask, what is your Like the one that has hit you the hardest so far.
Oh.
I know mine.
Oh man.
Dad, I don't know.
It has to be some picture of me where I am decked out from head to toe in Aggie gear. Like I have to have the hat, I gotta have a shirt, I gotta have something, a backpack or a pin on my backpack. I know it had to be a picture where I thought I was probably going to the game, and I just was that fan.
And that helps because you were OSL, so you got a whole bunch
Right.
of free Aggie gear.
Right, okay.
And still
It
have.
still has.
Yes.
Okay.
I get backpacks every day. I take it to
I have
school.
like
It's
5.
right over there.
I have 5.
Right, it's right over there. Okay.
Yeah, so it'd have to be me being the nerdy fan Brandon who's gonna deck out in as much gear as he can.
Got to. I feel like that's Aggies in general.
Right.
We got to look.
Well, to piggyback off of that, I used to
You
hate
used to
when
hate when people say that. Oh my god! You are just going to repeat the same exact thing that one person will repeat.
Skip.
Ooh.
Girl, they
Just
just
say,
said
I
the same
concur.
thing.
I
Oh my
concur.
God.
We are trying to
Yes.
go back to the room. We have been up for 18 hours straight. We have
Girl.
not sat down. I have not had a meal. I had to be here
I'm
early
telling
because you
you.
wanted to roll out of bed
Late.
20 minutes late. So now we all have to be here 30 minutes early.
My neck and my back, and you are just unconcerned.
Oh my gosh, when you that one
Oh.
you were stuffing bags.
We still talk about that, y'all.
Every day.
Okay, y'all look.
We're
I
gonna break
have
down the
learned over the years that in order for me to make it through, sometimes I have to just take what frustrates me and just put it on deep down in my gut. But the problem is, there's a certain point where all that builds up and there's a tipping point. And on this particular day, I reached that tipping point.
Oh my gosh.
And when I tell you in Corbett Sports Center, there was a sonic boom that I released in Corbett Sports Center. I ain't gonna tell you what I said, and I ain't gonna tell you who I said it to. Just know that people realized that I was not one
To be played with.
to be
Oh my
played
gosh,
with
no.
any longer.
Mm.
And you know what? At the time I was down there, I was like,
And
well, he ain't lying. I mean, what you want me to say? What you want me to say? Go home? Like,
It was true,
you know,
though.
like-
I will say, I spoke the truth.
it was true. That's why.
I
That's why I
spoke the
say
truth.
that.
that's why we all stood there and let it happen.
Now what Melanie told me, shout out to Melanie, she said, I understand you're upset, but remember with the wrong people in here, that's going to be your job. And then I said, you right. Because there was coin to be made.
Yes.
Because there were bills to be paid. Amen.
Yes, I've never seen a black man turn red.
But listen,
Until that day.
But listen. All in the same decade.
All in the same day. We
All in the
grown.
same
Growth.
decade.
Growth and progress.
Look.
Amen.
I love that kid.
Growth.
That was a great episode.
So,
No.
wow. Like, so much. LeBron won all his championships in that decade. Like, 2011 and 12 with the Heat. Like,
Really trying to.
2016 with the Cavs.
I was 17. I really thought I had the world figured out.
Child.
10 years ago. Woo.
It's interesting though. I think I came in still with such innocence.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my first 2 years, I kind of tried to keep that innocence, and I didn't really want to experience anything. But I think just OSLs in general. I think OSLs in general being like in Phi Mu Alpha, I think Proud, I think the organizations that I kind of joined, I feel like I joined them too late to get the full experience, but I think just the experience I got was amazing. And now I'm going back to remembering my little vest with the hood that I had on in the promo trailer. That was from college, and I'm sure that's going to be a memory that I'm going to regret. But I'm still gonna wear her. I'm still gonna wear her.
Got to. Yeah.
A lot happened. Like a lot happened in college. A lot happened in college. Like G-Ho 2013. Ooh. 2013 was just a year, wasn't it? 2013 was a year.
I couldn't tell you what homecoming happened when, but I think that's a part of the fact.
G-Ho 2011, we got the barrel that I got at the crib.
I'm so weak. I'm still weak at that. You're going to jail. Period.
The police have already seen it.
Oh my God.
They like, we already counted that one as missing.
A lot happened this decade. A lot happened this decade.
Oh my goodness.
Ooh,
yes.
Girl.
But I think I also would say that, I don't know about y'all, but I think my ratio of friends, most of them come from college, and then even that has shrank in the past 10 years. And, you know, I used to be kind of thinking the opposite, like I needed to have like this big thing, and people used to always say, keep your friend circle small, and I'm like, nah, But I think life naturally just
weeds people out,
weeds them out, and it doesn't have to be anything negative. It's just your life paths diverge further and further away, and that's okay.
Darwinism.
Yeah, and you never know when it's like, you never know nerdy terms, but you never know, like, you think about two different objects orbits and how it may be that they're like way out here, and sooner or later we'll cross again at a different event and different time in our lives. And I think that's what kind of, when I look and I'm like, I really haven't talked to so and so in a while, and I might just say hey to them, that starts a conversation. I'm like, that's
a movie scene.
That was
because you know what happens next.
You said
in the future.
No, this is what I did not say. I send I send a hey big head text. I just said
I'm not
2 in the morning.
So
I didn't specifically mean you. Like, I just said, like, that's in my head. That's a movie scene, like,
and that's a shame
because that's how vivid my imagination. You know what? This would be a good time to introduce my story.
I've been trying to keep it PG. That's why I have not commented.
First of all, you made the sound effect. So now even people on the podcast that couldn't see you go hear what y'all was thinking about. When I was just talking about two people that were associated together. And
I was with you until you said something.
I was with it till I said something.
So what did you do? I shut my fat ass up.
You're just lucky that our quiz ain't here.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness, girl.
Okay.
Oh no.
Whew. These good laughs. But yes, what I meant had nothing to do with that. But if that is your life, once again, I support you.
But you know what? I probably would. If you know, you know.
Here we go again.
If you know, you know.
You got to.
I probably would.
Amen. I'm just here.
It's a natural stress reliever. So, okay.
So for the rest of y'all who think y'all grown as well, if you are, take Jamae's advice. It's a good stress reliever. For those of you who may see this, who are not, exercise in other ways is also quite effective. Go to the gym.
I was thinking alcohol, recreational drugs, but I thought it was
not going to tell you what I was thinking. I'm not going to tell you what I was thinking.
You know what? I just want everyone to be great in their own way. And I just want everyone to be great in their own way. And I'm just going to say...
Save your life.
Hey. Women and men are beautiful creatures. So, I'm just saying.
I love my friends so much.
I'm usually this person.
I love my friends so much. Because first of all, we're going to
go down this
further.
rabbit hole.
We going to stay all
I feel like
holes are off limits for the rest of this conversation.
No problem.
Because there's a whole firm.
Oh, Lord. Have any of us gotten that where we feel very close to one of our dreams yet?
I was going to say.
No, ma'am, I was not.
Dreams.
No.
Mm-hmm.
But I think finally realizing the proper steps to take to get there.
I want to say yes, but it was like a false pretense type of thing. And that's when it goes back to the whole plan thing. And when you try to control what's going on in your life and everybody else is around you, or it's trying to tell you like, hey, and you just don't want to listen because you're like, but it looks so right, it feels so right. Yeah, I definitely jumped ship on A&T and went to an ad agency because I was like, oh, this is something that's in my field, this is my degree, I'm so excited. It wasn't remotely close. I was an account coordinator, not a designer, so it wasn't what I was used to doing anyway. I just wanted to be in the building just so I could say I'm doing something within my degree or my field of study. I didn't last for 4 months. I got fired after I bought my lovely Mini Cooper.
And that's real.
And then I was unemployed for 3 months. And so the half the money that I had saved up went to the car to buy it, and then the other half lasted me for me being unemployed. And that's why I say kind of it's good, because it literally lasted me up until the point of my first paycheck.
That's
But
good.
It's a word.
Yeah.
It's a word.
But in a way, I guess, yes, and not under false pretenses, because all I ever wanted to do is help people and impact their lives. And now I work at a financial institution, and I also work at a predominantly Black branch. So I've had the opportunity to educate people older than me, people my age and younger than me, on how to better lay out their finances so that they can live a better life. Because most people just don't know, and that's why they get in these circumstances. And then everybody looks at them like, oh, well, you should have known this. You're just a terrible person. You have terrible credit. How could you? And you're just poor. Ultimately. And it's that vicious cycle. So I'm trying to break that.
That's real. I think I've been playing around with my purpose, which is, I think, kind of shifted my dreams a little bit. I mean, like you said about helping people. That's always what I wanted to do, and being an educator, I wanted to target, the children. And so sometimes I think I have to remind myself that what I'm doing now is making the difference, because I know Brandon and I have had conversations about not only feeling like you're an imposter in your space, but also wondering how effective you really are. And so, it's like that's an interesting thing that I've been kind of going through in this past 6 years of adulting, is understanding, like the place I'm really meant to play is not always the place I envision. And to understand that that's okay, and it just take a little bit of work to realize what it is, and that has been the most stressful thing.
Yes, shifting your perspective.
Shifting my perspective.
To actually put in the damn work.
And I'm not there by any means, but that has been
progression, not perfection.
Right. Okay, that's how I feel with applying to these classes at A&T. Go ahead, get them out the way, get the paper, and then maybe go to grad school. Maybe after I finish the last two, I might just be like, I'm gonna take a different route.
And we've talked about a lot of plans together, and it's just like, I even have to stop myself from becoming so emotionally invested in that, because things change.
Yeah.
And it's like, I keep telling myself, I'm like, you have to accept that you can put all of this together and say all of this is going to happen, and someone's life can change in, you know, a split second or over a while. And it's like, respect that and appreciate that, you know, that's happening in that person's life. But, you know, you got to break through that. Okay, everything has to work perfectly because I'm putting all of my being into this one path. And I'm like,
okay, now you're reading me. Because that is me. And that's why I had to have that conversation. I was like, okay, I recently got out of what was a very long relationship to me, because before that, the longest one was like 11 months, and before that, 2 weeks. So, half of a decade. And it was just like, the only reason I was able to let him go was because I was like, oh, it'll work itself out. Like, we'll be back together soon. It's fine. Because we had like 5 or 6 months to still live out that lease together. And I just knew that it was going to get fixed in a time. Then we left. I was like, oh, okay, it'll still work out.
There's still time.
So it's just like coming to terms with that was very hard. And I think just shifting my perspective on it, like, everything happens for a reason. I got out of that relationship the day after I started grad school. And then everything was clearer, so I really enjoyed, I don't know what it is, but everybody tells me that grad school is a nightmare for them. I've thoroughly enjoyed grad school thus far. It's a beautiful experience. Then after that, it's just, I thought that this was a really bad thing, but I prayed that my finances would, like, for more, like, would free up, basically, or just to become debt free. And being able to move out of that apartment, I was able to move in with my sister, and my parents are financing, like, my sister's life because she has no job. So I was able to benefit from that. So I'm not paying rent or anything, really anything, any utilities. And then they give my sister money for groceries. So it's a blessing in itself, but I've had to shift my perspective so that I can view it that way. So I completely understand where you're coming from. Letting go of the control on my life and recognizing that I have no say in what happens to me. I just control how I react to it or how I respond to it.
Right. And I mean, you're actively also, you know, pursuing something. It's not like you've just completely taken a back seat to your life because things have changed. Right. And so, you know, I mean, praise him.
Life is him. I read a quote one time. It's actually on one of my business cards. It says, life is 10% what happens and 90% how you react to it.
Lord have mercy, is that true?
So, I don't know.
So I guess we should start wrapping up, but I know I've been the Oprah Winfrey of this entire episode. I'm sorry, y'all.
You want me to wrap it up?
Well, I did have one more question because I'm excited.
Okay.
If you...
I had to make sure it was still recording.
See, you got my back. If you could describe in one word your
oh my God,
your entire decade, you describe it in one word as Beyonce.
That is not my final answer, no. Okay.
Because I was like, Beyonce I might agree.
Beyonce did a hell of a lot more than I did in a decade.
So, describing in one word, you know, the ending of the 2010s and entering the 2020s. How would you describe that? How would you describe your 2010s?
How would I describe my 2010s in one word?
Okay, I'll give you 5 or less.
Oh, so much happened, so much bad and so much good. Humbling.
I'm gonna say eye-opening.
I'm going to say tempering. Like you're tempering steel.
That is a good word.
And we would like to hear from you.
Absolutely. So make sure you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, all that, at To Be Continued PC, TOBE Continued PC. Twitter, Instagram, we on Facebook. Follow us on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Make sure you follow.
Jamae, do you have...
I'm talking to you because I know you're the one who's not following us.
Can't do it.
and not subscribing. Don't watch the...
It's
don't.
not that hard.
If you made it this far, you gotta subscribe. If you don't...
I mean, I guess we just ain't gonna have that subscriber.
It's gonna be divine retribution.
Judgment Day is coming.
Well, okay. You better subscribe then. I want to live. Okay.
I lie. It's not divine. That was a little extra.
We would like for you to subscribe, though. Please.
Yeah, but please subscribe.
I mean,
That's how much we care.
Was...
Because you never know. Because you never know when something might happen. Because what did we say earlier in the episode? Something gonna happen.
Something. Okay.
Just
something.
like that.
Make sure you stay tuned.
Something. Jamae, before we wrap up completely, if you would like the followers, we always give our guests the opportunity. If you'd like to give yourself a shout out, a plug.
Wow. That is not my personality.
Throw yourself in, girl.
But shout out to my friends for giving me like a super cool nickname that ended up being my like tag, hashtag at, whatever. It's MAE _ back music.
You know, like Maybach music. So MAE's like May _ back music. Girl, when she changed that, I was like, okay, bitch, creativity.
Yeah, before that
just
was
like
amazing. So that was a little whack.
Growth in progress.
All in the decade, right?
So, as always, thank you for listening. If you need to rewind back and listen to all the platforms that we are on, know that the links are also in the description. And as always, this conversation is...
Masturbation will save your life. To be continued.
Yeah. Bye, y'all. Pray for me. Pray for me.
I was so excited. I just wanted to...
It was